Thanks for tuning in to the Match Play Podcast this week. This week we're discussing positive and negative facial strike terminology. Stay tuned.
All right, Bill, so you mentioned both bad and good strike points in terminology when it comes to golfing. So let's talk about maybe the bad ones first, and then we'll work our way in towards the sweet spot.
Sure.
So let's start on the heel side of the golf club. We've got the shaft and the hosel. So when you hit this, El Josel has come to visit. Usually
we don't really want to spend any time with Mr. Josel. It leads to really bad golf shots. It stings. It hurts. If you get into a rhythm of it, it's a disease known as the shanks, which nobody's quite figured out what causes them or can cause them to go away, but don't hit the golf ball there. You know, El Josel, the shanks, the hosel rocket. Let's hit the center of the club face instead.
Yeah, and if it happens, take a step back, laugh it off, go back to what you are normally thinking about. It usually helps you just get back to that center. Mm-hmm. All right. So moving forward, then we have heel strike. So this is as we're moving towards the center, right off of the hosel. Heel strikes. This can tend to make your ball do a couple funny things. Bill, what different aspects of your shot might you see if you hit it off the heel?
Heel, typically speaking, is going to be a little bit spinnier, a little bit lower since we're hitting down on it. Head high spinners, essentially, if that's the way you're playing golf. Which is not optimal, but you can get it done. I played that way for a few years myself. It's just not a good spot for consistency in curvature nor ball speed. It's going to cause, like Jeff said, some interesting flight variables to happen.
Yeah, and then on the opposite side of the club, skipping over the sweet spot for the time being, we have the toe shots.
Good old toe job, all right.
Yeah, so almost as the opposite of what Bill stated there before. With the heel shots, we're going to have a little bit less spin, and we're also going to have a little bit, because we have less mass behind that golf ball hitting, it tends to have a little less spin there. Any other factors that you'd say would occur if you hit it off the toe there, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, you get a little knucklier, like drives and stuff out of there. We talked about that in previous videos. Essentially, your ball speed's going to be down since, like you said, there's where you're hitting it off the toe there's less mass.
All right, and so now we're going to go towards working our way around this sweet spot. We'll finish on that pleasant spot. We're going to go down towards maybe hitting the ball high off the face. You're going to get that higher launch. Again, you're going to have a little bit lower spin out of the top of the face. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Bill.
That's correct.
Yeah, and then we're going to work towards the lower end of the club. This is where we're getting to a couple grooves thin, or even hitting the golf ball above the equator, where you're going to get those ankle breakers.
The worm burners, the skull rocket, the thinny winnies, whatever you want to call it. It's there's always a saying of thin to win, because the ball will go. But it's going to hurt.
Nothing, as long as there's no hazard between you and the hole. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You went out there to play golf, but essentially decided to, croquet. So, teach your own. But we prefer to hit it in the middle.
Yeah. And then, for the purposes of this, we're going to talk about hitting the ball fat. So you may have heard that term before. This is actually equated to hitting the big ball before the small ball, or hitting the earth before your intended target, which is the golf ball. And again, it's just, you're not going to get the potential distance that you should, because a lot of your force is going into the ground, into the golf ball. And it kind of comes down to that.
And just some terms that you might have heard, laying sod. Maybe seeing Jenny Craig. Because all of these are hitting the ball fat.
And finally, pure strike. The sweet spot, the thing we all desire, the thing that gives us the bug. A pure strike of the golf ball is what definitely gave me the bug. It's something you chase all the time. Hopefully it's something you do the majority of the time. But when you hit that perfect strike, there's honestly no feeling like it.
Now the weight begins shifting back to the left, pulled by the powers inside the earth. It's alive, this swing, a living sculpture, and down through contact, always down. Striking the ball crisply, with character. Tuning fork goes off in your heart. your balls. Such a pure feeling as a well-struck golf shot.
If you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, and share below here. We appreciate you tuning in, and until next week, make some birdies out there. See ya.
See ya.